Be Nice Camp also threatened to back out without their notes. What saved the day was my apologizing on national TV and then proceeding, even if only Poe and Duterte would debate. Good thing the two warring camps realized na mas lugi sila kung hindi sila sasali, and then they gave in.
Ako po ay hihingi ng paumanhin. There will be no notes allowed.
And I think people appreciated the apology and forgave us. You really can't go wrong by admitting your mistake and being truthful. Truth is forever. Saksakan talaga ng bobo yang si Lucy Cruz Valdez. Bakit nga man naging journalist yan? Dapat dyan labanderang chismosa. Bias ka, Lucy. Pahiya ka, no? Supalpal ka, nagdudunong-dunungan. Boba naman. Ouch. Bayaran, sana gasain ka ng mga adik. Tilahan ka sana. Lucifer. Ang sakit. Sabi nila, deadmine ko na lang daw. Tama naman sila, pero masakit pa rin. Di ko makuhang buweltahan sila, kaya ang sinasabihan ko na lang, mga anak ko, kayo, huwag kayong bastos. Mga karaniwang tao rin lang ang pinapanood ninyo. May damdamin. Kaya, tol, huwag troll. Respeto lang.
Ano ba ginagawa ko? I report both the literal weather and the social weather.
Nahahatak po ng bagyo ang habagat na nagpapaulan pa rin po sa Luzon.
When you look at satellite images, para sa abstract painting, di ba? Pero yung abstract painting na yun, naku, nakaka-apekto yan ang buhay ng milyon-milyon.
Pero maiba tayo mga kapatid. Kahapon sa makasaysayang pagkikita ng mga pinuno ng Amerika at North Korea.
I also get to do satire. Yung social issues, binibigyan ko ng historical angle.
Good evening, I'm Jess De Los Santos. The big stories tonight. We're just weeks away from the opening of classes, and the Education Department admits only 4 in 10 teachers have been trained for distance learning. The country has topped its target of 50,000 daily testing capacity, but actual tests being done every day don't even reach half of that figure. And those availing of food delivery services, listen up. A proposed law eyes to penalize customers who cancel confirmed orders and send them to jail for up to 12 years. And the Quezon City government has stopped issuing PWD IDs after a new modus involving these cards made rounds on social media. And 2019 bar passers take their oath as new lawyers in a historic virtual ceremony. We begin tonight with the Education Department's admission that only 40% or over 300,000 teachers have been trained for distance learning. This as classes are set to resume in 2 months' time. This prompted senators to question if the agency is ready to push through with the August 24 start of classes. A report presented by Senator Sherwin Gatchalian shows that as of now, only 1 out of 10 teachers are ready to go hybrid. Senator Francis Tolentino, meanwhile, showed a study claiming that an online shift in curriculum requires 6 to 9 months worth of preparations. DepEd says they can pull off mass training for teachers by next month.
We hope to be able to provide the training for our fellow teachers this coming July. The remaining 60%. And let it also be known that in addition to the training being done by ICTS, there are also local initiatives from the division offices, regional offices, where the teachers are also being given training activities.
The DepEd says they are still in the process of completing their mapping of areas capable of conducting online classes as they try to gather data alongside enrollment, which is slated to finish by month end.
We would like to say na we are getting there, Mr. Chair, Senator Nancy. So kung bibigyan nyo lamang po kami, siguro Hulyo, malalaman po namin yan.
Meanwhile, the DepEd is appealing to private schools to implement fair tuition charges. This comes after reports of some schools continuing to charge laboratory and other miscellaneous fees despite the shift to blended learning. A kid's plight is now making the rounds online as he struggled to enroll via PisoNet or Coin Prepaid Internet. While he was able to register, he now faces an even bigger problem. He has no gadgets. JC Cosico tells us his story.
This photo of a boy inside an internet cafe in Caloocan City went viral online. He was not playing computer games, though like most kids his age. He was busy enrolling for the next school year. He is 12-year-old Jonel Agner. The man who spotted him, Peter de Guzman, saw that Jonel was having difficulty.
Nahihirapan siyang mag-fill up ng form kasi hindi niya rin maintindihan yung mga nababasa niya. Although may Tagalog translation kasi malalalim yung mga words na hindi enough para maintindihan ng bata yung form.
He even had to shell out additional coins as Jonel was just using PisoNet or prepaid internet to enroll and his time was running out.
So ayun nga, for every 1 peso, meron siyang 6 minutes. So nung naubos na yung time, naisip ko, tulungan na siya.
Jonel is an incoming grade 7 student. He dreams of becoming a policeman. With separated parents, he's forced to live with his father, Joel, who lost his job as a construction worker due to the lockdown.
Pag-uwi niya, yan, sinabi niya sa akin na, "Pa, nag-enroll na ako." Sabi ko, "Salamat, nak." Sabi ko, "Alam mo naman, nak, yung ibang hindi ko naman naintindihan." Sabi ko, kasi mababala rin pinag-aralan ko. Sabi niya, "Sige pa, akong bahala."
He might have been able to enroll, but that's just one problem off of his list.
Wala kaming pambili sa gadget. Yung kinikita lang po ni Papa, sakto lang po sa pagbili ng ulam tsaka bigas.
The school's division office of Caloocan vowed to assist Jonel, but private individuals like Peter are doing their part. He set up a donation drive for Jonel, which has so far garnered 11,000 pesos. He will also offer free Wi-Fi hotspot services to other students in the area. Despite cases like that of Jonel and his father, the Education Department encourages that guardians be the ones to enroll their kids.
Ang ini-encourage natin ay yung mga magulang o kanilang guardians, no? O kung sino man yung adult na may pass, na pumunta doon sa ating paaralan o kaya doon sa ating barangay para sa ganun matulungan sila mabigyan ng tinatawag natin learner enrollment survey form.
Those without internet access may opt for the Dropbox system to enroll. To date, DepEd has a total of 14.4 million enrollees, both from public and private schools for school year 2020 to 2021. Enrollment deadline is on June 30. For News 5, JC Cosico, we are One News.
The Labor Department is now open to the possibility of bringing home the corpses of Filipinos who have died of COVID-19 in Saudi Arabia. In an interview with One News's Agenda, Secretary Silvestre Bello says they are just waiting for the Health Department's nod to bring home the cadavers. Bello says more than 300 Filipinos have died in Saudi Arabia, 187 of whom died of the SARS-like virus.
We will get the opinion of the Department of Health kung it is safe na iuwi yung cadaver ng kababayan natin na namatay because of COVID. If that is if the DOH says it's safe, then we will have to bring all of them, whether natural or COVID related yung cause of death nila.
Meanwhile, Bello says OFWs undergoing quarantine in hotels and similar facilities should not bear the expenses of their mandatory isolation. He proposes a separate funding from the national government. He says not even OWA should shoulder the expenses as OWA's funds are contributions from OFWs themselves.
Ngayon na kailangan nila tayo, bakit naman yung pera nila gamitin natin? Why can't government give them the assistance that they need? Ba't kailangan gamitin natin yung pera nila? O pera nila yan eh.
With COVID-19 cases still increasing in some parts of Cebu City, government officials and barangay captains have decided to put some barangays in the city under lockdown. But Secretary Roy Cimatu says a possible downgrading to general community quarantine might be in the offing for Cebu City. Now, to give us more details, we have News 5 correspondent Jem Abansenya reporting. Jem, what's the latest there?
Yes, only 2 out of 11 barangays considered as COVID-19 hotspot in Cebu City will be placed under lockdown. National Interagency Task Force and the Cebu Regional IATF agreed to implement granular lockdown in Barangay Sambagdos and Camputhao due to the rapid increase in infections. However, there is no date yet as to when will it be implemented. The city mayor's office says more police and military personnel will be stationed in different parts of Cebu City, especially in the 2 barangays. This is to ensure that quarantine guidelines will be strictly implemented. It also mentioned that QR coding system will be used on new quarantine passes. Only 1 pass per household will be issued. The city government of Cebu also made sure that affected barangays will be given relief goods. Mobile markets and cluster clinics will also be in place. Meanwhile, Cebu Governor Gwen Garcia announced in her latest virtual presser that starting midnight of June 26, only exempted persons listed in her executive order will be allowed to enter Cebu province. This include the governor, vice governor, board members and mayors, higher members of the Justice Department, the ombudsman, Cebuano lawmakers and officials of regional agencies. They are only required to present official identification cards, while doctors, nurses, and other medical professionals are required to present their PRC license, ID, and certification from the hospital. Media personnel accredited by the provincial government are required to present their IDs and Cebu government pass. Just in a press briefing this morning, Environment Secretary Roy Cimatu reiterated that barangay officials should do all means to contain infection in their areas. He also added that if the number of COVID-19 cases in Cebu City will decrease this coming days, Cebu City might be downgraded to general quarantine soon. Jess?
Thank you for those updates. News 5's Jem Avansenya. The National COVID-19 Task Force has beefed up the police manpower in Cebu City to enforce quarantine restrictions in the city. Interior Secretary Eduardo Año says they have deployed more soldiers and police, including troops from the Special Action Force, to monitor residents. Año adds that authorities will continue to apprehend quarantine violators in the city.
Sa Cebu City alone, meron tayong 5,088 positive cases. Sinobrahan pa niya yung ating Manila at saka yung Quezon City. Kasi gusto nating katulad ng ginawa natin sa Metro Manila, talagang extreme lockdown para naman mapanatili ang mga tao sa kanilang bahay.
We'll pause for a short break, but when the big story returns, the country now has a testing capacity of 50,000 per day. But as for actual tests done, that's a different story. And lawmakers are pushing to penalize customers of food delivery services who cancel confirmed orders. Find out the penalties when we return. I'm Jess De Los Santos and you're watching The Big Story. COVID-19 cases in the country have exceeded the 33,000 mark. This after the Health Department reported over 770 new COVID-19 cases, of which around 400 are fresh and over 360 are late. 8 new COVID-19 deaths were recorded today, pushing the death toll to more than 1,210. Meanwhile, there are now more than 8,900 people who have recovered from the virus, with over 250 new recoveries reported today. As of June 19, the country's testing capacity is already 51,000 per day, exceeding the country's goal of 50,000 tests by the end of June. But National Task Force Deputy Chief Implementer Vince Dizon clarifies actual tests per day is only at 16,000, less than a third of the projected capacity. Turnaround time is also now down to 48 to 72 hours, far from the 2 weeks turnaround back in March.
Increased lab capacity na nakita natin ngayon, 66 labs na sa ating steady supply. Dumating na po ang initial orders natin ng mga test kits. At dahil sa automation, bibilis na po ng bibilis ang turnaround time ng ating mga test.
Malacanang says the expiration of the Bayanihan to Heal as One Act has no bearing in the fight against COVID-19. Palace spokesman Harry Roque says that government cash subsidy continues in select areas while overall COVID-19 response remains intact. He adds that the government made good use of the special powers granted by the Bayanihan Act in procuring PPEs and test kits. He insisted no lapses on the part of the government. The future remains bleak for traditional jeepneys as there's no definite schedule yet as to when they will be allowed to ply the roads. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque says only roadworthy PUJs will be allowed to operate and that more units will only be added based on need, and that too will depend on the hierarchy of the vehicles.
Mga tsuper na magsusunog ng PUJs at ang sinasabing tinatapatan raw ang modernization at phase out ng jeep sa gitna ng COVID-19 pandemic, wala pong katotohanan na tinatapatan natin ito. Hindi namin tinatanggal sa mga tsuper ang kalayaang magpahayag, ngunit maaari tayong magpahayag ng hindi nananakot po.
And regarding the anti-terrorism bill, the palace clarifies the president hasn't had a change of heart. Roque says, though, no decision has been reached yet, as they are still carefully studying the measure to ensure its constitutionality.
Ang pangako naman ng presidente, hindi siya magre-rely sa mga rekomendasyon dahil abogado rin siya, naging piskal pa siya, alam niya po ang criminal law niya at siya mismo ang magsisiguro na wala pong probisyon sa panukalang batas na ito na lalabag sa ating saligang batas.
A new modus taking place amid this COVID-19 crisis involves the use of fake PWD IDs. Because of this, the Quezon City government is imposing a temporary halt on new applications. Jenny Dongan with the story.
The processing of ID cards for persons with disabilities has been temporarily cancelled after unqualified well-off individuals reportedly used the IDs.
We confirmed and found out na yung 6 na miyembro na ng iisang pamilya na medyo may kaya po ay nakakuha po ng PWID without submitting any application form or any documents to support yung kanilang pagiging may kapansanan allegedly.
Quezon City Legal Officer Attorney Nino Casimiro said those IDs were issued during the past administration, with the individuals paying 2,000 pesos each for the PWD ID.
Ito po yung classic na yung nagbabayad sila. Alam naman natin na yung mga fixer po not now, pero ngayon kasi pinapahuli natin yan. Pero dati napakarami pong fixer sa City Hall.
Attorney Casimiro said they are looking to suspend the validity of 68,000 PWD cards in Quezon City, but they assured cardholders the move will not be rushed.
we are not too drastic to the point na na idadamay natin lahat sa isang bugso. Meron din naman po yung talagang may kapansanan po naman talaga. Pero because the Quezon City government is very serious on this approach on this matter, we are also considering na i-cancela yung mga existing.
Bebe Reyes, who's been disabled by polio, slammed those taking advantage of the PWD IDs.
Gusto niyo man, palit na lang po tayo. Gusto niyo po ba talaga ng disability? Palit na lang tayo, kaya lang pilay. Sa mga nakakuha na mga hindi naman po kwalipikado sa programa ng may mga kapansanan, sana huwag naman konsensya, mahiya na lang po ng konti.
The City Legal Department is said to conduct a thorough investigation and will go through their existing guidelines. Under Republic Act No. 10754, PWDs are given a 20% discount and exemption of value-added tax. This also comes with a 5% discount on basic commodities and free use of express lanes in commercial and government transactions. For News 5, Jenny Dongon, VR1 News.
These are the other big stories today. Presidential son and House Deputy Speaker Paulo Duterte and 2 other lawmakers have filed a bill seeking to rename Ninoy Aquino International Airport. Under the proposed bill, lawmakers seek to rename NAIA to Paliparang Pandaigdig ng Pilipinas. The presidential son said the country needs a more representative branding for the international gateway. The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas made a surprise move, cutting benchmark rates by 50 basis points earlier today. The move is seen as monetary cushion for the country, which just started easing lockdown measures that have hampered economic activity for the past 3 months. This puts key interest rates at a record low of 2.25%. Overnight deposit and lending rates have also been reduced. The country's loans for COVID-19 response have reached $5.7 billion. From this amount, a little over $2 billion were borrowed from the Asian Development Bank in the form of budgetary support, financing, and grant assistance. Malacanang says the World Bank was able to provide over $1 billion in debt assistance to the country. The rest of the loan amount were sourced from bonds issued last month. The palace says the fund is expected to help boost the country's testing capacity. With a rapid increase in demand for food delivery services, lawmakers are pushing for measures to protect food delivery riders. But a number of companies and even a government agency say some provisions of the bill may be a little too much. Ria Fernandez with a story.
Antonio recalls spending almost 1,000 pesos just to purchase the order placed by a customer who suddenly canceled the transaction. He also encountered fake bookings, wherein customers intentionally give a wrong delivery address.
Nakapanghina na, siyempre yung pera mo, nilabas mo po para lang po mabili yung order ng customer. 59 pesos lang po makapupunta sa akin bilang delivery charge.
Scenarios like this prompted lawmakers to file House Bill 6958. Under the proposed law, customers can no longer cancel their orders when the rider has already paid for the food or groceries, except when the charges have been made via credit cards or when the rider has been handed the money beforehand. The bill also prohibits shaming of riders on any platform. Customers will also have to upload first their proof of identity and residential address, among others, before they can register on their preferred food delivery app. The National Privacy Commission flagged possible data breaches with this requirement.
I think hindi po talaga yung pagbibigay ng proof of identity yung solusyon.
Violators may face up to 12 years imprisonment and a 100,000 peso fine on top of paying back the riders double the amount they spent for their canceled orders.
Pwede naman ho natin pabababaan to. Ang purpose ko lang is talagang matigil na yung concern at yung mga panloloko.
Although they support HB 6958, food delivery companies think the penalties are too heavy.
The gravity of the penalty might also discourage those who use the app from using the services altogether. Probably a form of enforcement that will not result to or that will not resort to a very grave penalty would be for the proper education of the users.
Currently, the companies have their own policies to address order cancellations like reimbursing the riders. For News 5, Ria Fernandez, We Are One News.
Coming up on The Big Story, oath-taking goes online for the country's new lawyers. That and more stories when The Big Story returns. This is A Big Story, and I'm Jess De Los Santos. It's no doubt that the COVID-19 pandemic is taking a huge toll on the financial status of every Filipino. But with the crisis still ongoing, survey shows it is also affecting how we view our future. Lynn Olivario tells us more.
A record high 43% of Filipinos anticipate their lives to worsen in the next 12 months. So says an SWS survey. Though he didn't take this survey, displaced construction worker Miguel Nabor, a father of 4, feels he could have very well been part of that figure.
Ano na po tayo ngayon? June, July. Hindi pa rin po alam kung kailan talaga po kami magkakapasok, siyempre.
There's also 23-year-old Sheen Barela, who makes ends meet by either sidelining as a jacklift puller in a warehouse or driving an e-trike.
Kahit na sabi natin may kita ka na malaki ngayong araw, bukas wala na naman, di ba?
That 43% pessimism rate could have been larger, says Ateneo Bulatao Center Director for Research, Lori Mesa. She explains, from a psychological perspective, that people's cognitive tendency fills in what they don't know with worst-case scenarios. While this is normal and adaptive, too much of it can be bad.
I know it sounds corny for some, pero if you really list down the things that you are grateful for, you sort of help your mind to not go overboard with negativity.
Net optimism was also at an all-time low of -18 in the latest SWS survey, with low optimism evident in those whose pay was cut and those who lost their jobs. But not all hope is lost. Stockbroker and financial advisor Carlo Capacino cited that the boom of online businesses during the pandemic has led to new jobs.
Kami sa negosyo namin ngayon, kumukuha kami ng virtual assistant. No? Sila yung nagtatrabaho lang rin, pwede naka-cellphone lang sa bahay or naka-laptop. Sila yung sumasagot sa dami ng inquiries online.
Capacino also suggests listing down one's own expenses and sticking to buying just the essentials. He also proposes taking free online classes for financial management. For News 5, Lynn Olivario, We Are One News.
It's a historic day for the legal profession as incoming lawyers take their oath online. And because of the new normal, the Supreme Court is now also looking into the possibility of holding a digital bar exam. Marlene Alcaide with the story.
Wearing a black robe in front of a laptop, 2019 bar exam 8th placer Anton Luis Avila finally took his oath along with over 2,000 other successful examinees. In a special Anbang session this afternoon, the Supreme Court held its first online oath-taking of new lawyers. Justices wore masks and face shields while the proud bar passers stayed at home.
The top 10 bar passers and their respective schools. Number 1, May Dayan M. Azores, from the University of Santo Tomas, Legazpi.
Those who topped the 2019 bar exams were recognized through a special window in the video conference. This was the first time in the country's history that the oath-taking of bar passers was done online.
Again, congratulations, everyone.
2019 bar chairperson Estela Perlas Bernabe told the incoming lawyers that they are in a unique position of innovating ways to ensure that justice becomes accessible to everyone.
Historically, you will not only be known as the first batch of lawyers to have been sworn in online, but to a greater extent, the first batch to have commenced your legal practice during a debilitating global pandemic.
Associate Justice Marvic Leonen reminded the incoming lawyers to always protect those who have less in life.
As a lawyer, resist injustice. Make it your passion to resist injustice. Strive for excellence, not only in order to get you more titles, not to land yourself in top 10 lists of lawyers. Strive for excellence because you need excellence with honor to enable and empower the weak, the poor, the marginalized, and the oppressed.
Leonen, the 2020 bar chairperson, added they are now looking into the possibility of an online or digital bar exam.
I have also been given the go signal to drive a project that will examine the various digital platforms for a pilot test in computerizing the bar, including how applicants answer the exam questions. This will be a relief to those who come after you with handwriting as bad as many of the justices of this court.
This year's bar exam has been postponed until 2021 to give the Supreme Court enough time to determine necessary adjustments for a safe and orderly conduct of tests. For News 5, Marlene Alcaide, we are One News.
Jeepney drivers and operators are still waiting for the go signal from government before being able to resume operations. But in the meantime, most have no choice but to depend on donations to get by. The Alagang Kapatid Foundation, with the help of the MVP Group of Companies and Rescue 5, reached out to them to distribute relief goods and hygiene kits. Apart from jeepney drivers who fly UP Diliman campus, the Tulong Kapatid Drive was also able to help a group of pedicab drivers in Pasay and Caloocan. And that wraps up today's big story. Catch us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Signal Channels 8 and 250. Please like our Facebook page, One News. For more in-depth analysis, visit our webpage, onenews.ph. You can also catch One News on the Signal Play app. Register for a free account now at www.signalplay.com and stream One News live anytime, anywhere. I'm Jess De Los Santos and we are One News. Good evening.